addressing the world leaders at the climate summit in Paris, Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked the developed countries to make the deepest cut. The Prime Minister said that by the year 2020, India targets reduction of carbon emission level by 33 to 35% from the level of year 2005. He pointed out that India was reducing dependence on fossil fuel through levies and reduction in subsidies, switching sources of fuel where possible.
We will reduce emissions by 33 to 35% of 2005 levels and produce 40% of our power from non-fossil fuels. We will achieve it by expanding renewable energy, for example, by adding 175 gigawatts of renewable energy generation by 2022.
Prime Minister said that climate justice demands that with the little carbon space that world has, developing countries have enough room to grow. PM also said that world look forward to the developed countries to mobilize $100 billion annually by 2020 for mitigation and adaptation.
Developed countries must fulfill their responsibility to make clean energy available, affordable, and accessible to all the developing world. This is in our collective interest. So we look to the developed countries to mobilize $100 billion annually by 2020 for mitigation and adaptation in the developing countries.
Energy is a basic human need. At COP21, India pitched strongly for an ambitious technology initiative driven by a public purpose and not just market incentives. Paris Climate Conference will, for the first time in over 20 years of UN negotiations, aim to achieve a legally binding universal agreement on climate with the aim of keeping global warming below 2 degrees Celsius. With Aditya Shrivastava, Sudhakar Das's report, DD News.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated a unique India pavilion at the UN Climate Summit, showcasing the country's commitment to combat greenhouse gas emission. The Prime Minister said that India's new economic momentum is a subject of international attention and a source of global opportunity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated the Indian Pavilion at the Global Climate Change Conference in Paris, showcasing the country's commitment to renewable energy. The Prime Minister said that climate change is the result of global warming that came from the prosperity and progress of an industrial age powered by fossil fuel. Calling the world to act with urgency, he said that a comprehensive, equitable and durable agreement is needed, which must lead the world to restore the balance between humanity and nature. The Prime Minister also inaugurated a special pavilion showcasing India's commitment to fight global warming by switching on the water screen.
We come to Paris with our commitment, but we also come with hope. So we approach the negotiations under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in a spirit of partnership, which must be based on the principle of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities.
Setting the tone for India's stand on climate change, the Prime Minister said that India will participate in the discussion with a sense of common but differentiated responsibilities to tackle a menace that concerns the whole of world community.
Those who have the luxury of choices and the capability of technology will make adjustment to sharply reduce their carbon emission. The extent of their commitment and the strength of their action must be consistent with the carbon space they occupy.
Prime Minister Modi, who said climate change was a major global challenge, also launched a coffee table book, Parampara. He said that India looked at the Paris Convention with both commitment and hope.
Atharva Veda calls it a bounden duty that we must protect the earth so that life can be sustained. This is what we have tried to capture in the publication Parampara that we have just released.
The Indian Pavilion displays the country's harmony with nature and environment, and it is a window to Indian tradition, progress, aspirations and achievements. The PM also talked about India's intentions of converting waste to energy. He said that India will make its cities smart and sustainable and transform public transportation to check carbon emission in cities. Giving a fillip to the country's clean energy mission, India is also targeting to ensure 40% of installed energy capacity based on non-fossil fuels. Aditya Srivastav and Sudhakar Das in Paris for DD News.